This episode was brought to you by the Host Hotel, located at 1860 Quebec Route 132, Kahnawake, Quebec. The Host Hotel has a restaurant on site, a store, and a Timmy's on location, and is close to all Quebec's entertainment. This episode was also brought to you by Pit Stop Convenience. Stop by 888 Route 132, Kahnawake, Mohawk Territory for your beer, wine, cigarettes, and vapes. And after you stop there, make sure you fuel up at Mohawk Gas and Mini. Mohawk Gas and Mini is a family-owned operated business located on Highway 138 in Kahnawake. Fill your tank and stop in and grab some pre-made meals, snacks, or your favorite alcoholic beverage. Offering a wide variety of vapes, tobacco products, and serving you 7 days a week. Thank you for bringing the Creators Game podcast to your community and supporting the growth of the Creators Game. Now let's start the show. Creators Game, episode 30. I'm Dea Miller.
Jay Smith.
Chris Vale.
Kaymen Diabo-a.
And you're tuned in to the Creators Game podcast, and it's episode 30, and we got a special edition for you guys. We're out here in Kahnawake with Kaymen Diabo-a. How you feeling today?
Good, man. It's a good day.
So let's just get started. You've seen the show. We're going to start the same way we always do. When's the first time you picked up a lacrosse stick?
Maybe, well, obviously when you're born, right, they give you a stick, and but I think when I first started playing was maybe when I was 6 years old.
Like, again, we're new around here, so like in your family is lacrosse, is there a presence of lacrosse? Is lacrosse like known in your family, or is it kind of just like, no, we're just gonna put you into lacrosse? Like, how did you get into it?
It was my dad. I don't think my dad put me on lacrosse. He played his whole life. Played junior B, usually played Mohawks just for around here.
And then, like, tell me a little bit about like your early ages of lacrosse. Like, did you start like bantam, peewee?
Paperweight.
Paperweight. Okay, so paperweight.
Right to start, yeah. Paperweight is when I first started playing like competitive, like team wise, and being a part of a team and a group.
And then, like, how was that for you? Like, were you a natural, or, were you on the 2-team, 3-team at the beginning?
I always tried hard, and I played my best. I was always part of the team, one team, and always one of those guys. But, I mean, it wasn't easy at the start, right? You don't know. You got to learn, and it takes a while to get good. So it was just practice. And
Were you always kind of more of an offensive player, or did you kind of, obviously mine are playing both ways, but was that always your stronger suit?
Yeah, I always liked playing offense. I mean, you like scoring, right? So I always like to play on the offensive side. You go back and forth defense growing up, but it was just always wanted to put the ball in the net.
And then, like you said, like one of those guys. Who is one of those guys in Kahnawake? Like, tell us a little bit of history of Kahnawake, and like who's some of the players that the younger generation are looking up to.
There's a lot of guys that did big things on lacrosse. I mean, Angus Goodleaf, right? Trevor Stacy went go play Arrows. He won 3 Mintos. But I think really big spotlight on guys are like Trey Deer, Colton Markey, those type of players.
Like you said, it almost seems like even like an Oran Horn and stuff like that, but it seems like really picking up, right? Especially publicity-wise, like you said, the Stone Jacobs was with the Wings, and like you said, Colton Marquis, Trey Deer, even like kind of more guys seem to keep coming through the pipeline here in Kahnawake.
Yeah, and then
yourself included.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that really talented players like Brian Rice. He got drafted to Rochester. He was one of my favorite players to watch growing up, playing for Hunters. Descendate Macumber, he got drafted to Georgia Swarm. There's a lot of talented players in Kahnawake. It's just now it's starting to more guys are coming in, like you said, though, like those my age were Colton, Trey, Darren Yoris Macumber, those.
And then, like you said too, is it like was always a big thing to go to those Kahnawake Hunters games, the Mohawk games and stuff. Like kind of growing up as kids, bringing your sticks and hitting the arena.
Yeah, that was always a fun time. You look forward to that, right? Watching those older guys play. I was always ready to go watch those games. My dad coached Hunters for a few years, so fun to be around those guys and in that group.
There was you're in the next generation coming out of Kahnawake as far as known players. It's some of those names you mentioned. It made me feel nostalgic because I had the privilege of coaching some of those younger guys on back then it was the Team Iroquois minor national program. So I know Brian. He's good. He's a good kid. There was Suckle Kirby coming up. I made a lot of friends out here. There was coming out here for me is almost a wee bit of a coming home because I know quite a few people out here from the prior generation of players, so to speak. But like I said, you're in the next generation coming up, so you're in lofty companies, and I applaud you for being there.
Yeah. And like you said too, I don't know. Obviously, you're playing like Arena League now. Did you have any aspirations of maybe taking that college route ever, or?
Yeah, I mean, coming out of high school, I wanted to go play D1. Right, that's the goal. I went to a CJEP school. We don't have grade 12 over here.
Oh, yeah.
So as a CJEP school, you got to get your credits to go play NCAA. So, but I did the 1 year college. Maybe it wasn't the route for me.
Yeah.
I didn't like the classroom. But I took up welding. So I went and do welding instead of more hands-on work,
Definitely,
more moving around. It's just I wasn't really a big
blue collar guy. Yeah. I just because like I said, even driving up here of kind of seeing like how close we are to the border of New York, Vermont, and it kind of made me think about how Oren Horn went to prep school in Vermont, or even so Jacobs went to University of Vermont, like how kind of close it is to here. And I didn't know kind of like what the high school lacrosse was like around here. Did a lot of guys kind of go to prep school?
Yeah, it's you don't get the biggest looks from out here. You got to go to the States, right? To Trey Deer went to Salisbury.
Yeah.
Colton went to Don Bosco. It's all the States is where you're going to get your
looks.
Yeah.
And then for like you doing Arena League this year, you kind of just threw your name in that draft. Is that how kind of Paris Rules picked you up?
It was actually Peterborough Timberman wanted me to enter the draft. They said they were looking to draft me, but then
Jamie Dubrick, the coach of Paris, stole you.
Yeah,
Nice.
he ended up picking me up. Yeah, so it was a surprise.
There you go. Yeah, and like you said too, obviously Peterborough would have been that closer drive for you. So like you said, all winter you're kind of putting those miles on and kind of seeing you around the ILA and stuff playing. Obviously, if people don't know, Paris is a town closer to us in Six Nations, but their team plays out of the ILA arena along with the Shwegan Bears and Snipers in that league.
Scheduling wise, it works out great for those teams because an away game is actually a home game because there are 3 teams in the Arena League that play at the ILA.
And like you said too, it seemed like a few times at least you got lucky out. Like, did you drive with Brian Rice and Stone Jacobs down there those couple times? Right?
Yeah, there was a catch a ride with them, or I mean, a couple of my buddies would come with me just to make the drive back.
Yeah, because I think like the first couple times that's when I met your dad. Your guys' first game, right? You guys came down. And seen you guys out at the restaurant in Brantford and stuff, so that was cool. And like I said, I'm sure it was a fun time. And like, kind of, what did you think of kind of playing that level of kind of playing with grown men in that league?
Yeah, it was a learning experience. I mean, it was really fun though. It's really good. It's good lacrosse. It's just to keep my feet going for the off season. Keep playing at that high pace lacrosse.
And then I was going to say too, like one thing I kind of seems to be about your game is you see a lot of guys that are either just goal scorers or just guys that like to set up guys and get assists. And I notice you're kind of a 50-50 guy. I see you're like 29 goals, 28 assists for Paris this year, right, in the regular season. And then what are you sitting at? 22 goals, 20 assists right now for Junior B. So what does it feel like that you kind of are that dual threat player? You may score the goal, or hey, you may, draw the man and dish it.
Yeah, I mean, that was really from my dad, making sure I was a two-way player, not just always taking 20 shots a game, right? You're trying to make everyone around you better at the game and make sure everyone is connected. I mean, I feel like I built a lot of chemistry with guys during the season with passing to 2 men and feeding guys.
Nice. And then was it kind of tough? Like, you even went to Coquitlam last year, and like, has it been tougher adjustments there? Like, kind of like with your line mates, or have you been able to kind of just jump in? It seems like obviously with success-wise, you've had points-wise, like kind of building those chemistry with those players. Yeah.
I mean, it's easy when guys are that good that can share the ball and will put the ball in the net when they're in the middle. So it wasn't too bad of adjustment. They're a really good organization, Coquitlam. So it was just kind of easy to get in the system when you're around talented players.
And how'd you get out there? Just kind of through scouting and stuff like that? Somebody seen you
On an airplane?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, yeah. They were looking at my buddy Yoris McCumber. He went out there. He's from Kahnawake, and they said if there's any righties, and he mentioned my name, and that's how that worked.
And honestly, like you said, sometimes I've heard stories about different guys, like even in the NHL or NBA, right? You go to scout one player and then you end up finding the other guy, right? They kind of bring along and does just as good.
I asked you a little bit about like some of the players that the younger generation looks up to. Who are some of your teammates that you grew up playing with?
So my teammates, well, I mean, Trey Deer, Yoris McCumber, but there's also like Owen Rice, Suggo Rice. All my teammates right now for the Hunters is a lot of guys that really talented players that I played with in the minor system growing up. So it was not hard to connect with them right off the hop.
And like you said too, even coming back from Coquitlam last year, you kind of excited to kind of put the Hunters back on and kind of play for the hometown this year, and kind of you saw them make that push last year, and kind of maybe with you in the lineup can kind of make that extra step to the Founders.
I mean, yeah, it was really exciting to watch last year. I mean, I was rooting for them. Obviously, I wanted them to go win it, but coming back to play Hunters means a lot to me. I mean, it's my home, and we have a really talented team where I think we can do something really big this year. So that's why I decided to come back.
What's the community like out here? Like, how much do they support lacrosse? Because like on Six Nations, it's like the Mecca of lacrosse. Everyone kind of goes to the ILA. It's like a real family thing, right? Is it kind of like that out here, or because last night we were out and about and we actually met this guy and he talked about how soccer was big out here. So like, is soccer big out here, bigger than lacrosse, or?
No, lacrosse is probably. Everyone loves to go to the sports complex, watch Kahnawake Hunters or the Kahnawake Mohawks. I mean, lacrosse is really huge in town. That's probably the biggest sport, obviously. I mean,
and who's your rivalry team?
I mean, probably Aguasasne. I mean, it's just the two native teams that go head to head. It's always a big battle with them. But I mean, also like Nepean, Gloucester, those Ottawa teams it's always a battle.
And that's what I was going to say too, because that's honestly one thing I feel like Six Nations maybe doesn't have is kind of going head to head with that native team, because they always talk about Newtown, where you said back in the day, right, like when Jay and stuff was growing up, they would play Newtown in OLA minor, or obviously the Can-Am or the First Nations leagues. They'll always talk about Newtown, but like you guys actually play Aqui and everything, right? From minor, junior B, even in the Three Nations League and senior B, right?
I remember a few years back when the junior B loop would have crossover games, so East and West, and I remember it was the last 2 regular season games for the Rebels. They came out here, played in Kahnawake here on I think it was on a Saturday night, and then Aguasasne the next day, and both barns were packed. So I don't know whether it was the competition or whether it was just the camaraderie of native teams playing each other, but like you couldn't find a seat in either arena.
And that's what I was going to say today. I was like, I know the Rebels used to kind of like come out here, and it makes sense. You should have the Rebels come out here more than the guys go there, because then they can kind of knock out playing Aguasasne and Kahnawake and kind of make the trip.
I don't even know if the league has those crossovers anymore. I know they used to schedule it. It wouldn't be just the Rebels that had to cross over. It'd be other teams in the West that would come over. Even in Junior C years ago, the one crossover was we had to go to Huntsville one year. I don't know if they schedule that anymore, because it is like middle of the week. It's a lot of travel.
Yeah.
I know when it comes down to playoff times, I'm going to give away a couple of secrets here. When it was always the Rebels and Aguasasne playing in the OLA finals, the Rebels would schedule games during the week to make it harder on Aguasasne players to get off work and parents to get off work.
That's right, Six Nations style too.
I mean, that's a league secret.
We want to win.
That's a tactic.
And like you said, maybe like they should bring back the crossover games, because instead of playing Hamilton 4 times, or let's be honest, we know the Rebels are going to beat Welland every time they play them this year. And like last night, they crushed them again. So instead of playing maybe them 3 times and crushing them all 3 times, they should kind of maybe play an Akwi and play a Kahnawake. And,
Shout out at Welland.
you know, we've seen Junior C, we were just talking about how like Akwi and the P and stuff got to come to ILA, play the Six Nations Stealth Junior C, and then they go to Huntsville. I think that was maybe there's one less team in the league this year for Junior C, so they were kind of bringing those crossovers back. But it'd be nice if they did that in other leagues as well. Obviously, Junior A, everybody plays everybody once.
Yeah. So going back to what Chris was talking about, you going to Coquitlam and new guy, new teammate, new players, everything like that. And I know at that level, everybody has the basics down. It's just buying into whatever systems each team has. Now, having said that, there are a player or two from Six Nations that has come and played here now. So are they welcomed as much as you were when you went to Coquitlam? Are they as welcomed in the dressing room here?
Yeah, of course. I mean, they're talented players. Talking about Dylan Martin and Leighton Bomberry, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talented righties. That makes our right side good. They're welcome. They're really good guys. They're fun to talk to. They're funny. You know, we hang out off the floor too. Golf, bowling. You know, just make sure they're comfortable.
Little known fact, both of those guys are cousins of mine.
Oh yeah.
I was gonna say too, like we talk a lot about the hotbeds, the Orangevilles, the Peterboroughs, and stuff of Six Nations. Even out this way now at Akwi and Kahnawake. What did you think about playing lacrosse in BC? And what did you think of the community at Coquitlam and like them being kind of a lacrosse hotbed? Like, did you kind of feel that kind of like that was their kind of sport in town?
Yeah, the lacrosse is pretty big out there, and they're very welcoming. As soon as I got off the plane, they took care of me, right to a house, picked me up, make sure I was fed, just make sure I was comfortable.
Because definitely, like I would say, they're one of the more storied programs in junior lacrosse, right? Even if they haven't won Mintos, they've seemed to go almost every year to the Minto.
Yeah.
Was that cool too? I know you said you were hurt for that last year, but was it cool at least, hey, you got the ring and you got to host the trophy, right? So I'm sure that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, it was a good time. I mean, when I went down before playoffs, I mean, it was frustrating. Couldn't get back in the lineup, but just being in that locker room and being around that team and seeing what it took to win a Minto was pretty eye-opening, and it was a really good experience.
So is this your last year junior now, right?
Yeah.
So like you said, they always say the Minto's the hardest trophy to win. You only got 5 years to do it. You did it in 4. Now you can win the second hardest trophy to win the Founders Cup, right? And maybe kind of bring one back for the hometown.
Yeah, I mean, that's the goal. Kahnawake doesn't have any founders, any prezzies, so I mean, to be the first team to do it would be pretty special.
Definitely. I'm sure like we drive through the town a little bit. I'm sure you guys would have a big parade, huh? And kind of get to host that around.
I've already got my eye on him for Rivermen.
There we go.
He's already scouting.
Already scouting. Always scouting.
He's out here on business in multiple ways.
Yeah.
Always scouting. Always.
Where would you want to end up? Like, let's say you get drafted next year or something like that. You know, where would you like to end up?
I mean, Las Vegas would be pretty sweet.
Vegas. Oh, come on.
Hey, they need help.
Yeah, they do.
We may have a new
Don't
desert
get
dog
Vail
here.
started on
Don't
Vegas.
get-
I mean, obviously you want to go to like the Bandits, right? Or Colorado, or I mean, San Diego would be pretty sweet too. I like the practice floor they got
just in your contract, if you go to San Diego, you may have to work out the Disney passes
Oh,
like
yeah,
some
yeah.
other former veterans.
So you want to go somewhere warm, basically.
Yeah, I mean, but the idea of Las Vegas would be pretty cool. I mean, now to have an NLL team and just to go out there.
Is that like a thing around here? Is some players on Six Nations will make pacts, be like, oh yeah, we want to go to this team or we want to go to that team or we're all going to make it one day. Is that like something around here that you and your friends are like, oh yeah, you know, we're going to make it one day and we're all going to play for this team?
Yeah, right. Growing up, you want to play for the same team, but just maybe get into that level of even playing against each other at the pro level would be pretty cool. But it was always growing up, you're on the same team and you're at the rink and you're talking, I'm Dane Smith and then I'm giving it to Josh Byrne. You're playing with your friends, right? Talking all around the Buffalo Bandits. It's just, I mean, being with your boys would be a really good time on a pro team.
And then we talk about like traveling around. Did you or like your uncle and stuff, right? He likes to set up some teams and stuff. Did you guys have any like travel teams like in your youth where you went and played some box tournaments and field tournaments in the States or around North America?
Yeah, I went. We went to a lot of places. To Vegas, Florida, just jumping on different teams to go to different places was always not just playing for a team that your friends are making, but a different organization that asks you to play. It was always something that I liked doing, getting the experience to and the opportunity to do that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
There was so many travel teams as far as field lacrosse a few years back, and a lot of our Indigenous players were. Sometimes they were spread. Like I remember, I think it was Tyson Bunbury went to Sweet Lacs, and was it? Did Larson go to Sweet Lacs too?
Probably. Was you also saying too? Was that Crunch team? Was that from here, or was that more Ockby? They were Ockby, but did they have kind of a split of guys too, like some guys from here in the Ockby?
Yeah, there was a lot of guys that would go over there to play that for.
When that team first started, they had two teams. U15 and Rising Stars, which essentially were the same age group. There was a couple boys from home to Hoga and Lane that were only 11 years old and got pulled up to play in the U15 squad. So they've been going to Florida for a long time. I don't even know if those tournaments still exist out there now, though.
One player singing some of those things was Hank Delisle, right? Wasn't he from this area? Kind of.
Yeah.
He's a smaller guy, and maybe he didn't get enough credit, right? But he can put the ball in the net.
Yeah.
So now I know that you do play field. Like if you were to choose field over box, which one you choose? And then also the next one, NLL over PLL, because we're going to get a little political with you.
I mean, box. I played field a little bit, but it was always being in a box was more fun. And with that answer, it'd probably be the NLL over PLL.
Okay, and like you've watched the show, you've heard our banter about like the NLL, PLL, and like not working together basically, and different things like that, right?
Okay.
What would you say that like the NLL or PLL needs in a player? Like you're young, you're gonna be like, we want you to go pro. What do you think that like the NLL or PLL needs in a player? What does a player need to do to be that Michael Jordan, that LeBron James of the NLL, or the PLL?
To be a great player in the league. What they would need.
Like you gotta have there has to be a star quality, and I feel like the younger generation gets that. They understand that like, okay, we can see that like all these players can play, but like what else can they do? Because now it's getting to that. Like that's where the lacrosse is getting to. It's just like, okay, well, what's next? What's next?
Maybe attitude. I feel like attitude goes a long way. Like say you're on a squad and then you get sat, instead of complaining about it, I mean, make sure you're ready for the next opportunity. Just staying positive towards teammates and coaches. I think attitude is a really big thing a player needs to go far.
Did you ever have any years or times in Kahnawake where you were like, oh, like I don't want to be on this team because it just didn't work out, or the politics? Is it like that around here? It's like that on Six Nations sometimes.
No, I don't think so. I don't think politics is a big thing for the Hunters or playing over here. I mean, I always wanted to play for home. I like being here, but I think going A was the best option for me to get my looks and to go further with my game. So that's that.
Chris, you're drawing flies.
Yeah. And like you said too, what was like a game from last year that you kind of remember most?
A game from last year,
or like what team was kind of like a rival almost out there?
Probably Poco. Poco Saints. They had a really good team last year. With especially picking up a couple natives like Lee Stockstader, Damani Thomas, like just those guys were Kyron Lazor. They had a really good team, and they gave us good games.
And what was that like too, of like just kind of seeing that maybe there wasn't a team from a reserve in the Minto, but then between Coquitlam, Port Coquitlam, and Orangeville, you guys had that native representation. I know you guys all took a picture of Lyndon even in there from being from Orangeville, and Trey, and like, was that pretty cool just kind of seeing all the different guys have success on all these teams?
Yeah, I mean, especially playing with them. I mean, playing them with First Nations, and you played against them your whole life. So it was a pretty special moment to see that type of talent and native players at that high level at the Minto was pretty cool.
How coincidental that Lee Stockstader and Damani Thomas have wore Rivermen jerseys this year.
Yeah.
Just saying.
You've now played junior. You're going to go into the senior dressing room. Like, what has been the most intimidating place that you've actually played? Like, you have to meet new teams. You have to go into new centers. You have to meet new communities. Where's the place that you've been to and it's like, oh, this is different. This is totally out of my realm.
Pryde at ALL. I mean, playing with like grown men that were in and out of the league and been at that high level was probably just maybe trying to make my mark and make sure like I be noticed. Young guy coming in a grown man locker room, that was probably the biggest test for me.
Did you ever get any trouble, like, I guess, not fitting in, but getting that respect?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I always try to be positive and I mean, you're meeting new people, right? And they're your teammates now. So, I mean, trying to make new friends and form that chemistry, not knowing anyone, not even having a practice together, and you're going to game one of the season, right? So it's just, like I said, me having that attitude of like wanting to play and wanting to be part of a new group.
And like you said too, the ALL, like you had guys in and out the lineup all season, right? New faces here and there, or this guy showing up this game and missing the next game. So like you said, that had to be tough. But something obviously, putting up 57 points, obviously you were able to kind of get through that. And you guys even made well, everybody made the playoffs, but did you guys win the first round or? I know you guys like were kind of one of those like after Christmas break picked it up.
Yeah.
But you guys kind of had more guys in the lineup and your goalies situation settled and stuff.
No, yeah, it was a good team. We had a really good team, but like you said, guys coming in out of lineup, we couldn't form and not have any practices, which I understand because games on the weekend, people have jobs, but like we formed a connection fast, and we had, Dobes too, coach. He's a really good coach, and he helped our. I was
gonna say he seems like he's. I don't think he's ever coached NLL really yet, but like you said, he's kind of one of those coaches knocking on the doorstep, right? And he's got. I feel like Paris is kind of his baby, where he's like coached them since they've been in the league, and then you guys also had Chris Driscoll, right, as one of your coaches too, and it's probably good too because he was an NLL veteran for years and stuff, so maybe like him teaching some stuff and kind of getting an eye out, or even connections wise, I'm sure some GMs and some coaches still talk to him that he's been teammates with and played on like Nighthawks and stuff like that and different other teams. So it's always good, right? Play in front of those guys or have them as your coaches.
Yeah, and like they taught me a lot too. They're like you said, really good coaches that I learned a lot from, and looking at different situations, like when a pick's coming or your shot or seeing different looks. Yeah, they've taught me a lot.
Like I said, too, I think another guy, J.O. probably said he played Riverman, too, at one point. But Curtis Woodland, right? He was kind of in and out the lineup. I know a lot, but it was like one of your guys' better
Did he play
players.
Riverman?
He did play Riverman.
He did play Riverman.
And like you said, too, I don't know if Jason Lane was the one telling me that he kind of moved. He was like Allura, maybe moved more like around that Blue Mountain, Collingwood area, right? So I think it was maybe a longer trip coming down.
He had moved, I believe, a couple of years ago. He had moved about, I think it was Port Dover.
Oh, really?
And then there was, the way the league works, they were this and that. His rights went back to Clearview. He was living up there somewhere. I don't think he's ever suited up for what is now the Collingwood team. But last I knew, that's where his senior B rights were. But if he wanted to come back.
Yeah, and like you said, just like of guys kind of trying to fit all that in their schedule, and then like Christmas time in the Arena League of those teams kind of, like you said, in and out. I think one time you guys were kind of short. I think you guys got the win. You guys only had like a handful of players, right, and a bunch of newer guys show up.
Was it against the Bears that they got the win short benched?
It might have
Come
been,
on, Chris.
Was it Peterborough, maybe? I can't remember. It was like a random like Saturday afternoon game, I think.
Might have been the
Bears.
We won't speak of the Bears.
So what do you have coming up in the future? You have any anything that we should know about coming up in the future? Any are you playing tonight? Are you playing tonight?
Yeah.
We're gonna be at the game tonight. What can we expect? How's the season been so far? I know you guys just started, but like.
Yeah, we have a really talented team. We're having a really good start to the season, and tonight's game is probably gonna be a really big game. I mean, the first time we're playing Zesna this year, so and they have a pretty good group, but every game is not personal, but it's the rivalry where you want to win that first game against them and set the tone.
And who's the scrapper on the team? I see Owen Rice got in a couple of scraps there.
Nah, he's not a fighter.
No, he's not. Oh,
Dylan will shake the mitts.
okay.
Dylan will shake the
And I
mitts.
can't remember too. You guys also got in a little scrap versus Holton Hills, right?
Yeah, that was Side Deer.
Rebels getting a lot of line brawls. I see you guys actually had the straight up fight. The Side Deer, nice. I see he can throw the mitts.
Yeah, he's a tough kid.
And like you said, it always seems like a lot of. I feel like Kahnawake is always kind of known of having a lot of, like you said, those fighters that are kind of have that UFC kind of fighting background, boxing background. Right? Would you say that's kind of a big kind of sport around here? A lot of guys like the martial arts and stuff like that, and the boxing.
I'll tell you a funny story. Back with the Team Iroquois program, when it was before it changed names several times, we had Trevor Stacey on the team, and Trevor Stacey's reputation far exceeds him. He's another one of those guys that on the floor he's ferocious, but in person he's a sweetheart. And I know his parents; they're good folks. But we made Trevor one of our captains. We made Trevor one of our captains, and Thomas Miller, because the rest of the team was scared of them. So we're like, okay, you're not going to listen to us, then you better listen to your captains. And Trevor and Thomas used to patrol the hallways at night, making sure that all their teammates were gone to bed. So Trevor struck terror into his own teammates. That was pretty cool.
Was he one of the boxers too? I know he was a hockey guy, right, Trevor Stacey, and I know you don't probably want to. I've seen him too. He kind of acting up on the floor, but is he playing Mohawks at all? Do you know of? I know they were making some announcements yesterday about getting 3 of the 4 Thompsons. So
No, yeah, I'm not really sure what he's up to, but he's a really tough guy. Like, he played Hunters, and he was always someone that.
Yeah, he dropped the mitts. I think I watched him at a Rochester exhibition game a couple of years ago when he was drafted, and I think he lasted 5 minutes into the game. And actually, he was sitting in the stands next to me. But and then he popped up with the PBLA a few years back playing for Syracuse, where I was like one of those guys you think maybe done playing, and then all of a sudden a new league pops up, and then you see some familiar names. But like you said, yeah, do you think like boxing and kind of that UFC kind of style fighting is like kind of big in this area, or Quebec, I guess in general, right? And
Yeah, I feel like in Quebec and Montreal, like UFC is like a lot bigger.
TriStar Gym's not far. It's where George St. Pierre trained.
Yeah.
No, yeah, there's a lot of guys that would take up boxing and wrestling. Wrestling's really big at our high school. So, but that MMA, yeah, there's a lot of guys that would.
Just like you said, yeah. When I've always kind of seen stuff that people have been like, "Oh, this guy's a fighter or a boxer," and then now he's playing lax for the.
There was a fella played at home for a while that was an enforcer. And he's out. I don't know if he's still out this way, but he came out this way.
Dalen Logan.
Dalen the Caveman Logan, yeah.
And then that's when the one team in Dreamcatcher brought him and Rory Smith out. And it was like, I think somebody was even kind of saying something to him, and they were like, "Whoa, you don't want to start with that guy. Just a younger player didn't know who he was messing with," and, or like, "Hey, like talking crap to him." And then they're like, somebody pulled him aside and was like, "No. That guy's a veteran. You don't want to mess with him. He'll knock you out."
That kind of happened at Prezi with Rory. There was people in the crowd beacon, and guys that weren't dressed that game pulled him aside and said, "Watch this video."
Watch this video.
And then they're like, "Yeah, we're not saying nothing anymore to Rory."
Then even another guy that's kind of made a name for himself going to Ohio State next year, right? Winter Rivera. What was like throwing him in the lineup?
Yeah, he's a really talented player. Really creates a lot of space. Has a really good shot, and it really talented add-on to our roster.
Yeah, like I said, it seems like it may be tough for teams like not just Aquasesting maybe later tonight or Gloucester tomorrow, but just teams in general. Who can they really, especially when you guys are probably all clicking, who can they really kind of key on when all you guys are kind of
Shout out to Winter too, though. He just won the Tualatin scholarship for high school, and I know that the last couple of days they were in Washington D.C. I talked to his dad last week, and they are going to try to be here tonight for the game. So hopefully, if they're here in time, Winter gets the dress. It'd be cool to see him play. But if not, I mean, I'm sure you guys are strong enough.
Yeah. Like you said, Winter's dad, Ruben, he was always a nice guy. Played versus him, seen him around there. I think his uncle Kevin White passed away. I think it's Ruben's wife and maybe Winter's mom's uncle, Kevin White. So we used to talk about that and playing in that tournament. I think I had the bracelet or the shirt on one time when we got talking about it. And now you don't see, he doesn't play Rebels or Arrows anymore, so I don't see Ruben around as much as I used to. But maybe, like I said, it'd be nice to see him this weekend and catch up. And Like I said, yeah, and you said Winter's another good player. Then I see, is it who do you guys got? Is it Tall Chief or who's you got a guy brought a guy in from Alberta too this year, huh?
Oh, Moon Chief.
Moon Chief, yeah. Tall Chief, I think is the guy on the Arrows. I think they wanted to bring in an Alberta guy too. Is how's he? He's a defender guy. I was trying to
defense.
Yeah, is he pretty good, solid?
Yeah, he's a really big
dude.
body. Yeah, he's really tall. Muscular, strong.
Anybody grabs you up as when you go, Moon Chief, get in here.
Yeah.
Give this guy the evil eye and let him walk away.
Could be one of those.
Give this guy the evil eye and walk away, he says.
Yep. Yeah, like you said, yeah, and that's cool. And it's nice to see lacrosse even in Alberta or even kind of some native communities out there, kind of getting some players and then kind of even bringing them out east to kind of get the exposure.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about Kahnawake. I like learning about different reserves because I've been to a lot of different reserves when I was younger. I was on this thing called the Unity Run, and we went to all these different reserves. So I love learning about Kahnawake. I love learning about different reserves. So tell me something about Kahnawake that I don't know. Anything. Because we were at the gas station a little while ago, and that guy was giving us mad history.
We were running a little late, and Jay thought we got lost, but we're like, no, the guy he even gave us the hold up a second. I'm not done talking to you guys. As he cashed the guy next to us out, and he was a very nice gentleman. Dave, I think was his name. We were saying, but yeah, he was a history lesson. He was trying to get us to go inside and look at the map of where the cutouts are, and was telling us all about the white guy back in the day that screwed up your lines for the horse and buggy. He's like, we were like, he listened in history class. That's for sure.
That's too far for me.
He was telling us that there's one side of the reserve where it's all farm, and then there's the village, and but you can't build over by the farm, and all these different things.
And like I said, that's when he's like, and the roads are like this because it's horse and buggy, and then he's like, and then the guy messed up, the white guy, and he put the roads through people's properties, and then cut the property lines off. And we're like, oh crap. He's just telling them Six Nations is like a grid. Well, it's almost Six Nations is almost kind of like New York City. You got your roads and you got your avenues, right? You got your first lines, your roads, and then your Mohawk Road and stuff's like your avenues. And then, like we were saying here, different reserves. It's nice to see. We even kind of stopped off at Kahnawake on the way, and we kind of traveling around and seeing different places and communities.
You guys were just lost. That's all it was.
So what do you guys do out here for fun? We were out and about. Again, there was some guy telling us that you guys had a women's soccer team go out travel
countries,
travel to different countries. And then we were at this other place, and there was I guess you guys have bowling leagues and stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to do. I mean, golf is probably my favorite thing to do out of lacrosse. It's almost maybe every day that guys want to go play around.
Okay. You any good?
We did pass that on the way to the golf. Yeah, scratch golfer or what?
No, I'm not.
No, $20 a hole? No.
No, $5 a hole.
There you go.
Oh, he's putting money up anyway.
We kind of noticed. So is that the reserves golf course then?
Yeah, we have 3 of them, I think.
Oh, that's cool. Hey, that's even more than us. We just got Monhill. We were like, oh, hey, we're not the only resident golf course. As we were passing, he noticed it right away yesterday. I just left the clubs at home. Maybe I'll have to rent some. And
then we got to shout out our sponsors here for getting us down here and hooking us up. We got Host Hotel. We got Mohawk Gas. And then, of course, we're at Kahnawake CrossFit. We got the pit stop right here, so shout out to everyone for getting us down here.
And Host Hotel, like you said too, it's a really nice hotel, clean, and then also the Timmy's is downstairs. The restaurant looks really nice. I know Jay checked it out yesterday, said the food was good. We'll probably later on. So it seems a lot of Kahnawake is nice. It's a lot of nice different places to eat and stuff like that around here. I've seen some sub shops and ice cream places and stuff. So
these guys go out and explore and left me back at the hotel last night.
Yeah. We're like, we'll get lost and figure it out on the way after. And
we were just night out in the town, and we just ended up at you guys have 3 local bars, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
the
3.
Mariana, our Marina, the Moose. We went to Legion. We went to Legion too.
Legion too.
Yeah, shut her down.
We were just driving by and stuff like that. We noticed it was cool. We noticed it was a sign-in thing at the places, or we noticed a lot of places you had there was members and stuff like that. And it was like I said, it was pretty cool. Or it was nice. It was cool that we thought you guys had some places on the reserve to do it, because by us, you got to go to Hagersville to the 2 restaurants or Brantford, and it's you had nice local hangouts on the reserve.
Yeah, this reserve's it's pretty cool. You got a nice reserve here. Mm-hmm. Appreciate you guys having us.
Yeah.
Like I said, really looking forward to the game tonight and stuff like that. Obviously, did you come down? You came down and played also too in the Rebel scrimmage, or?
No,
No,
for
I didn't.
preseason,
That's why.
no.
That's why I couldn't remember if I seen you earlier around there. That was more of the Owen Rice dropping the gloves, getting signed, huh?
So like a lot of youth are watching this now because we're out in these streets, out in the community, like trying to grow this game, going to different tournaments and stuff like that. A lot of youth come up. So like, what would you say is like the pathway to the NLL? Like as a child, what were you told was here's how you get to the show, and then like nowadays, how do you get to the show? Like, is there a blueprint if there is?
Growing up, I mean, like I said, it was always like do school, go to college, and get looks. But I kind of took like the longer route around. I didn't go to school. I was always not in the biggest spotlight to get my looks, so I took the long way around. But I mean, school probably the best option to do to get looks. But just going out to different, like going off the res, playing in, like, I mean, I went to BC, like playing out of your home and get your opportunity elsewhere.
And then you grew up on the reserve your whole life, or did you ever have any culture shock going out to like all these other teams?
Yeah, I mean, homesick hit me a couple of times being away, growing up here, and then you're meeting new people. You're not around comfortable space, right? You're in a different environment, so it was a big thing.
How did you like kind of cope with that? Because I imagine you grew up with your core players. They're all your friends. They're all your buddies. You can talk to stuff that's not even about lacrosse, like on the floor and off the floor. But then you go off and you're in this like new world of like meeting these new people and new teams and stuff like that. And you can't really like, you can probably talk to with your friends who are at home, but they can't really relate. So how do you kind of cope with it? Do you just kind of like hope that you find someone on the team who you can relate with, or?
I mean, like I said, having like a positive attitude and not judging anyone before you really meet them. I mean, just they're your teammates and you're gonna have to go to battle with them every day. So you gotta get to know them, hang out with them, talk to them one-on-one, not just in a group. But I mean, you're talking to one of your boys about a hockey game, NHL game, or like just small talk to get the connection going.
Was there ever like any time where you got to like a different like community or center and you're just like, I don't think I can fit in here?
No, I don't think so. It was I always I mean, I was always a shy person, like not outgoing, but just getting out of your comfort zone to make things more comfortable around you.
What about dealing with like coaches who are even like non-native, right? And they're like, "Oh, we got this like res guy coming in. He's kind of quiet. I don't know if I can yell at him. He's gonna freak out." Like, was there ever? How was it dealing with like other coaches, because you are quiet and like, you know, you come from a reserve. Some other people don't understand like what it's like. So was there any type of like, was the transition easy, or was there a little hurdle of like, yo, these coaches don't get it. These coaches don't get that. Like, I don't understand what's going on here. I don't play in this system. I'm from Kahnawake. Like, you know, like was there anything like that?
I mean, when I went to school, it was pretty hard. I mean, not knowing anyone and you're by yourself. And
Was it Onondaga that you went to?
no,
Or where'd you go?
It was in Sherbrooke. It's, maybe 2 hours away, Champlain. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it was just trying to be positive. Obviously, the coaches are not what you thought, right? Because playing at home and you know like I got coached by my dad or I got coached by my uncle, or you know your coaches and you connect.
They're like
with
somewhat
coaches.
your friends as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And like you said, we were talking about you like playing with Jamie Dubrick for Paris this year. Was Pat Coyle, was he the coach then for Junior A last year? I know he was always been the. And how was that like? Because he's been a Team Canada coach. He's currently still a coach of the Colorado Mammoth. Like you said, at least you had that pro NLL atmosphere at that Junior A level.
Yeah, Pat's a really good coach. I mean, nothing really can get by him. He's a really assertive, but like, I mean, he knows how to win. He knows how to lead a team into battle.
And then, like you said, yeah, and like you said, that's too, like that's cool. Like you played already with a coach that's at the NLL level currently, right? So it's always good for draft stuff. Where you say maybe you took the longer out, but then you've played box in some areas for Arena League, Junior A, and then even now for a successful Junior B club. And guys like, we'll say recently, even like an Aqua guy like Nungo Thompson, he got drafted at a Junior B. So even coming back home, hey, that doesn't hurt you at all, because as long as you're kind of still doing good and the team's doing good, NLL teams will pick you up. And then, but yeah, I don't know. I was going to think of something else after, but we'll edit that one out too. I had another.
Going off the from a coach's point of view, I mean, when you coach in a small community, like Kahnawake is small, Six Nations is small, you've coached by your dad, coached by your uncle, and they have a good idea of the dynamics of what's going on outside of the game too, because it's a small community. So you know if this family's having a rough go with something, and you know it may affect this player. So you got a heads up coming in because you're from a small community. So when you get to a big school like that, the coach's job is to just coach.
And I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. The Macumber that you went out to Coquitlam with, I watched him. He was at OCC and did good and stuff like that. And then I don't know if he wore 83 because he's a Randy Stotts fan. I know they were saying that they asked him who his favorite player is, and he said Randy Stotts. So I don't know if that's why he liked wearing, even Randy Stotts didn't wear 83 at OCC, and he did. But where's he playing this summer? Was he overage now? Or
Yeah, he graduated this year. He's playing for our senior B team
nice.
this year.
He jumped on the Mohawks?
Yeah.
Nice. And then, because was he in the draft this past year? I don't even know. Or is he probably just jumping this year after the senior B season?
He just finished up at OCC. So,
okay.
He's trying to go to NCAA. So
nice,
D1,
nice.
D2, D3. So he didn't enter the draft.
Yeah, he did. He played this year. Or he just did his schooling, is what it was.
Just did his school.
Did his schooling? Okay, that's what I thought he might have been done. Yeah, that's why I didn't know if he was kind of off the map. But that's good. Then he finished his schooling, maybe associate's degree, or whatever. That's what you need to go D1 and stuff. So that's pretty good. Yeah, and then looks like the Mohawks are putting together a good squad. I saw they got the other Macumber that was drafted by Georgia before. I saw they bring in Stone Jacobs, local guy back from Coldberg, and then. The other, is it Stephen Charbonneau?
Steph Charbonneau.
Yeah, from Vancouver Warriors, Montreal guy. And then obviously three of the Thompsons, right? Miles, Heine, and then we heard rumblings, and after seeing they got two of the Thompsons. I know Miles, right, lives around here now, right? And then Jeremy's been kind of stays around as well.
Yeah.
And I see he's not Six Nations Chiefs this summer. He's one of the guys I would have left, and so he's Mohawk. So hey, they should have a good team. And I know we got Jay here, and don't want to ruffle feathers, but hey, maybe that team will give a go at President's Cup. You never know.
Oh, starting conflict.
Like I said, another good team, right? And like another team, like obviously too. There's no more Quebec league, so that Three Nations team will be pretty solid.
Yeah.
Well, they'll have to contend with the Muskies first.
Yeah, and hey, now the Akwesasne Bucks are back in, so they got you got Akwesasne Bucks, Snake Island Muskies from Aqui, and then
Cornwall.
Yep, and then we got they folded, I guess, the Redmond or whatever, but then you got Ottawa Axemen as well, right? Isn't that always the kind of the big rivalry? Yeah. Look at one goal game last night they lost, but
Yeah.
You ever have coaches hitting you up in the DMs trying to get you to go on different teams and stuff like that? Jay Smith ever come up in the DMs say, "Hey, Rivermen are looking for you"?
I think I did.
Oh, like you said, I think I did it. Do you have your junior? Oh, your junior A, it's still in Coquitlam, or is there ever? Because now that you guys are affiliated, Kahnawake, with the Six Nations Arrows, has there been any talks of them ever calling some guys up now through the season?
I think my rights went back to. I don't think I have any A rights anywhere. I think they came back to junior B. So.
Nice, yeah. Because I know, we always talk with him with senior B, how he'll have some Riverman guys, but then if their rights are in Owen Sound, they'll go AP from Riverman Owen Sound. But then the guys with no rights or affiliated with Chiefs, they can go Chiefs.
Well, that is tricky because your junior A rights may still be out west. They might be. I know with a lot of releases and stuff, there are transfers. There's always the conditions where your rights come back, but that would only be your B rights coming back.
Did you get drafted anywhere? Like in the I know it's like so if you come from a minor system with no junior A team, you can get drafted in the junior A. Did you get drafted? Like I know some guys were Burlington and stuff like that.
No,
I
didn't get drafted.
No, that's all right. Sometimes that's the best way though, because then you can choose.
Sometimes that's the best way
where you want to play, right?
Yeah. Though they might, these junior A clubs in the OLA might have already looked, and his rights may still be out west.
Yeah.
Then it becomes a bit of it's not a headache, but it can be trying to get rights transferred back in. Sometimes it can be done in a day or two. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks.
Because like you said too, I know you guys are having more of a winning season than Aqui, but that was a big thing. Aqui has been affiliated with the Six Nation Arrows the last couple summers. This year, Arrows chose Kahnawake, and then Aqui went with St. Catharines, who's hosting the Minto Cup or whatever. So
There could potentially be a lot of guys from here and from Akwesasne that end up at the Minto Cup just because of those affiliations.
So does that mean you're going to be on Six Nations next year?
He's done after this
Chiefs,
year.
yeah, Chiefs or Rivermen. That's about it, right?
Well,
Yeah.
no, like Six Nations, still be. Rivermen. I see the hands going. That's the cue. That's the cue.
Is your dad still helping with the Mohawks though?
No.
Any family kind of
That
coaching
makes
or
it
helping
easier.
out?
No, just for he's our assistant manager for our junior B team.
Nice. And like you said too, how's it? You got guys. You also, like you said, we were saying Stone Jacobs leaves Coldberg to come back home for senior B. You had Brandon Francis. He's an Aqui guy, but he left Coldberg as head coach to be coaching you guys with a legend like Brett Bucktooth. He's a legend in the game, right? Syracuse, MLL, NLL, like Haudenosaunee teams. Like,
Yeah.
you know, how's it playing for him?
Yeah, it's a really good experience. He's a really good coach. I learned a lot in the little time that we had so far. I mean, we're halfway through the season, but I feel like it blew by pretty quick. But just those guys, Brandon, same thing. He just knows how to coach, knows how to win, and like I said, assertive and knows how to lead a team to battle.
Like you said, a guy like Brandon Francis, he's known from being the big fighter guy, right? So like you said, he's still got that assertive and this kind of in him. And then like you said, and Brett and stuff, and also too, like you said, flying by. That's what like thinking about. We were looking at the Rebels, like they'll play 4 games in 5 days. Is kind of like that here, kind of squishing those 20 games into this 2-month season. I know they finished June 15th regular season. Are you guys around the same? I'm guessing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure our next. In the next 14 or 15 days, we have 10 games.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Why is your season?
And
like
that'll take you to middle of
Yeah.
June when the season's done.
So, like, obviously, we're at a nice CrossFit gym and stuff here. What's some things, like, especially like, obviously, yeah, it's youth, but what do you do to kind of keep your body ready, you know, conditioning wise, and also kind of, do you hit the hot tub and stuff like that in between
you
games?
hit
Like,
the hot tub?
what do you kind of like? Do you do in kind of like playing? Like, that's still a lot of games, right?
Yeah,
Four out of 5 games or 10 games in 15 days.
Just making sure I'm staying hydrated. I'm stretching after games. Even when it's not game day, and if I'm not doing that, I get a stretch in, keep my legs warm, go for a run. I mean, the rink's right there across the street. Keep my stick going.
Nice, yeah. Because like you said, that is obviously some kids may, but then that's when an injury comes if they're, you know, taking it not prepared enough, right? On those off days, so that's good stuff.
You play hockey growing up?
Yeah, I did hockey, basketball, baseball. Tried everything, but it was just lacrosse that.
So lacrosse was the standout sport.
Yeah.
How good were you at hockey though? I feel like you'd be good at hockey.
No, yeah, I was the man.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. There's the confidence. I was the man.
Where do
he
you
said.
guys kind of like, what's like the town or so that you guys would play like your minor hockey and stuff at?
Chateauguay right there, Mercier, just within half an hour, the drive.
And like I said, I'm sure in Quebec and stuff like that, you know, pretty competitive hockey. I know Quebec's known as the goalie capital, right? It has had tons of good NHL goalies. So.
What is the relationship with Quebec out here? Like, we're. You speak French?
No.
No. Do many people in Kahnawake speak French?
No. I mean, some people
understand some stuff probably, I guess.
Yeah, they go to school and they go to school.
Understand
outside.
the swear words.
Yeah.
Well, it's like that's what I was asking him on the way here, because just kind of looking, I was like, you know, the different places. Scotiabank was in French on Scotiabank and stuff like that. So I'm like, and that's what me and him were kind of wondering on the drive. I was like, I wonder if the guys out here like kind of speak a bit of French, or like they kind of know because it's just of the area, right?
Double culture shock. You ride into Quebec and all the signs are in French. You pull into Kahnawake and all the signs are in Mohawk.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which is pretty
it's
cool,
confusing
right?
everyone.
I said to him, I was like, oh yeah, it's a Mohawk on the stop sign, and like, and even too, we were just driving around. We were like, oh, that light's crooked, because like we're like, all the lights are kind of sideways and stuff like that. And then we're like,
Our lights are vertical.
Yeah,
Here
yeah.
they're horizontal.
And then just the arrow was going straight, and then this like even he or Gary or behind the scenes guy, you know.
Come on, Vale, get off the res.
We were like, I don't think because I said the day or two, I was like, I think you can't make right turns on red because it had the arrow to go right, the arrow to go left. Or driving last night, I was like, oh, you figure it's got the arrows to make the right and to go straight at the same time. So it's kind of.
I turn right anyways on a red light.
Jay's in a rental car, so he's going to get tons of tickets and blame it on somebody else.
I'll say that's the night I gave the keys to Vail.
But the reason I ask, like, what's the relationship with Quebec is this, like even Ontario, we experience racism still, and it's Ontario. Like, we're just speaking English. Is there any, like, do you experience racism with Quebec and with the French out here in lacrosse?
Yeah, there's maybe not horrible, but there is times where there's certain situations where there is racism. I mean, even on the floor this season, I experienced racism when we went out out in Ontario.
Like what? Like, or are they just like,
Is it players just throwing slurs? Or
yeah, they're just like, oh, you're a wagon burner or something like that? Or...
Yeah, I got res dog.
Oh, res dog. That's a compliment, I guess. For him, anyway, he's a res dog right there. Yeah. He plays on the res dog.
It's our team, yeah. We'll sign you up with Joe. Like we said, I didn't realize Jake jumped ship from us in Montreal and played with you guys and said he had a bang on time. So I was like, oh, Jake, you're not supposed to jump ship. You're supposed to bring those guys to us.
Yeah. So it's funny that last year, I don't know if you watched how many episodes that you watched, but we had a few episodes where we discussed the Elora Mohawks, and I kind of poked fun at them. Again, it's me. It's not the opinion of the show. It's my opinion. But conveniently or coincidentally, they've removed their name. They're no longer the Elora Mohawks. They're just the Elora Hawks. But the thing that even when I played minor against them, and then 10 years ago, when one of my boys was coming through the Rebels, and even right up till last year, they would chant, "Let's go Mohawks." And I'm like, you're playing against the Rebels, who are about 80% Mohawk players. And then the one playoff round last year, they played against Kahnawake, and I'm like, you get 100% Mohawk players right there.
Well, like, that seemed to be when it really got brought to the forefront, right? Was that Ontario finals where, like you said, they're all chanting, "Let's go Mohawks." It's like, which team are you rooting for? Right?
Well, and the thing too is, I remember one person commenting something about, we got permission from your council to be named Mohawk, and they've been the Elora Mohawks since the 50s or before that. And one of the issues were, can they hang their old championship banners that had Elora Mohawks, and the Elora Town Council, or however it was, voted no. It was their own council that voted no. So then all of a sudden it's our fault. It's Six Nations, whatever. I don't care. Blame who you're going to blame. I poked fun at them because I said, you don't even know who you want to be, because you call yourself the Elora Mohawks. Their emblem on your chest is from a Plains tribe. You're a little mixed up here. But long story short, Six Nations Council did revoke their support. This year they're no longer the Elora Mohawks. They're the Elora Hawks. But you want to talk racism? I've experienced firsthand in that arena, like to the point where fights in the crowds break out. You're getting stuff thrown at you. You're getting fans attacking our women verbally and the children and grandmas, and they don't get, if you're going to do that to our women, you're going to have hell to pay.
I'd like to find out, do you kind of know like who kind of invented the Hunter's name and stuff like that, kind of brought that in? Because that's it's a cool name, right? And like then obviously who, like the logo, obviously probably who designed it, but like I would say you guys got one of the cooler names and logos in the league so far, or some are the box circuit.
Actually, we've been Kahnawake Hunters for like
Ever, right?
Ever, so forever. So like, I'm not really sure.
I'll ask one of these older guys. I know that.
Didn't you play Elora in the finals?
That was they played him last year.
Yeah. That's before obviously you're on the team, right? But he had all the buddies and stuff like that. Now he's back with the firepower to maybe beat them if they see them again, or see one of the other teams from the Western Conference. Like, because that's where the Rebels, they had another big fight last weekend. I know you've probably seen that. Yeah. Bunch of suspensions. And I guess one thing I was kind of thinking when I was looking at their stat sheet was, I didn't know how come the Rebels players had 30 minutes of penalties, 25 minutes of penalties, and then the Elora guys only get 15. But I guess the refs said the Rebels players came off the bench so I gave them extra penalty minutes where those players were on the floor playing offense. So I guess after their suspension and stuff like that was handed out, the Rebels had to prove, no, these guys were literally playing forward versus Alora's defense when this went down. So then those suspensions got reduced. But like I said, because I'm like, why? Like, you know, we obviously said the week before where Orangeville had no guys in the penalty box till.
Yeah, Orangeville had 0 guys in the penalty box. Rebels had 9.
And then I'm like, if all these guys are all squaring off and fighting, shouldn't they get equal penalty minutes? But yeah, I guess the rest were like, oh, that guy came off the box.
Well, even the Alora game there, with that video, then the big part of the video was a goalie fight, and Connor Waller was the only player that left the Rebels bench. None of those other guys left the bench.
And wasn't that almost a goalie switch? Like, weren't they trying to get the starting goalie rider off and then Connor on, and then Connor went to fight? So it's almost like, yeah, he left the bench, but maybe he left the bench with no helmet and gloves on, so it made it obvious, but it almost looked like they said, hey, you come off and you go on, so they were trying to get that kind of switch.
It's tough because I remember years ago in St. Catharines, I had a lot of issues with not just the St. Catharines team. Mostly it was the timekeeper out there, to the point where we had to get her removed from keeping time for any Six Nations games. But there was an incident there where we had a line brawl in midget, or U17 as it's called now, and they're fighting in the corner, and I looked down and I said, you know, PK, get ready, penalty kill, get ready, because I know we were going to get penalties. So one of our players who was on our man down defense stepped off the bench and just leaned on the boards right beside the door. He got 4 games for leaving the bench during an altercation. Even though he was 60 feet away from the fight, he stepped on the floor and leaned on the board. So the ref said, yeah, you left the bench during an altercation. So I think he got like 4 games.
What's some road arenas you like to play in, either because they're hostile or not? I'm sure that Turtle Dome, right? You like probably playing there, gets pretty packed out with the guys not liking you guys, right? But I'm sure, obviously, talking about like watching the NBA playoffs and stuff, how they said those players kind of like those hostile arenas because then they can shut the crowd up. And then where some other places, Halton Hills and stuff like that, those get pretty rowdy, or?
Maybe not as much as playing against another native team.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest,
and like you said, you guys are kind of bordering each other, right? So it's kind of like you said, it's the rights to the Eastern Door almost when you guys play each other, right?
The rights of the Eastern Door.
And like you said, have you played with a lot of those? Did you play at any NAG or anything like that, or was it?
Yeah, I went to NAG. I only went there 1 year.
Yeah, was that the last one, the Nova Scotia one? Yeah. And like you said, was that pretty good? I know you guys I think had guys coming in and out of like your junior playoffs and stuff like that, right?
Yeah, we had Lou Alfred and Duntu Van Domlin from the Arrows when they got bounced from playoffs there. Yeah. They're pretty good add-ons, but that was. Never been to that tourney. It was a really fun experience, you know, playing other native teams from different BC, Nova Scotia, different areas.
And then even too, like, was it Josh? I know he wasn't in the picture of you guys though, but that Josh Mills, was it Josh Mills?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And like you figure he kind of got the name of being native, kind of playing for Team BC and that, and then how he's still putting up some good points for Port Coquitlam.
Same thing as Logan Mellish. He played for BC and then ended up being on my team for
Coquitlam. Nice. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So like you said, you play versus a guy in that tournament, then ends up being your teammate next summer.
Is there anyone over here preparing for Sixes at all? Like Sixes lacrosse? It being in Olympics and stuff like that. Is there any push at all for it? Like, I don't know on Six Nations, or I don't even know if there is a push for it, but like around here, is there for like to get a player out there?
Maybe not right now, but I'm sure.
Like when it gets closer?
Yeah,
right?
I'm sure someone and people will start making the effort to go.
What's your thoughts on that? Like the Sixes in general. Like, would you play that?
I mean,
for sure, he gives you the call, right? You're in or try.
I mean, being in the Olympics too.
Once in a lifetime for many athletes.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, maybe even maybe possibly even winning it too, right? Winning an Olympic gold medal.
Because like you said, even too, like being the first kind of native Haudenosaunee and being like, you know, representing your own country on that national stage, right? Like you guys the lacrosse teams are going to be the only ones with holding the flag, right? You see USA, Canada, everybody's holding their flags, and you see all the different teams where the lacrosse teams are going to be the only Haudenosaunee teams waving the wampum flag, right?
Yeah.
So
Were you gonna say something about sixes there?
It seems like women's sixes, they're doing a lot of playing, more so than the guys are. Like Tim Bunbury coaches the women's sixes, and they've played in where were they, Puerto Rico and Alabama. I know the guys team played in Alabama too, I believe, but the girls teams has been playing a lot more.
I think I seen like because the girls had played, like you said, in Oshawa and stuff this year, and then Canada has played like the some universities that have came up in the fall time, and it looks like Haudenosaunee men's is putting a team in that as well. I don't know if that roster gets picked the Monday before the tournament, or if they're actually gonna be a bit prepared and kind of have like if there's actually tryouts, or if it's going to be the usual calling guys up. And maybe too, for that they should take a younger crew, because in 2 years, like you said, a lot of those players are older now, maybe in their 30s or mid 30s. In 2 years they're going to be kind of done, right? And then that's when those younger players like yourself and your kind of buddies, right, are going to get the shot.
Well, the women's box team this last year, when they played at the Worlds, I was pleasantly surprised that they picked Fawn Porter as a captain. So they went a little younger. Like we had Stacey Smith on the show. She was the oldest player on the women's team. So, and then to have Fawn as a captain, Fawn's in her mid-20s. So I think it was a good move that they went with a younger group and a younger captain, because she will lead them into the future.
And then, like you said, like right outside here, there's a nice rink. Is it? I didn't get to check the floor out. Is it like kind of ball hockey floor, or is it kind of concrete?
Concrete.
That's cool. Yeah. So, do you guys get like pickup games going, or is it a lot of shooting around?
Yeah, a lot of the minor teams are practiced there.
Nice.
Sometimes the hunters will go run around there just to keep the sticks going.
Yeah.
What would you say that because we do have to wrap up, we have a couple more episodes. What would you say is something that like Kahnawake needs in sports? Or not in sports in general, but for lacrosse in general. Like on Six Nations, we're always just like, we need more arenas, we need more floor time, maybe funding, different things like that. In general, what does Kahnawake lacrosse need to like grow so that you guys can have more superstars out there?
Another arena, the same thing. It's just we have one arena that will they'll put the ice in. And then the only other place we have to play is the rink out there, and it doesn't have a roof, so
it's cold in Quebec, right?
Exactly.
It's snowing and everything.
And then another arena that would be open all the time for whoever wants to go play would be pretty good. I mean, inside, warm, you're keeping your stick going during the winter.
What about like funding wise? It's like, I don't know how it works out here, but like, do you find that like you're having more people registering for your minor lacrosse? Are you having like, are your numbers up or down? Or like, do you feel like it's a growing out here? What do you feel like Kahnawake needs to grow other than arena? Like, or even if you guys had a podcast out here, and you guys had more media and stuff, like getting more people interested in lacrosse, like anything.
That would be a pretty good idea if someone do what you guys are doing. I find this is pretty cool going around.
So why don't you do it?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you gotta get you and your friends, get some mics, get some cameras.
Yeah.
Would you say almost too like Kahnawake? Like there was their minor, like everybody's from Kahnawake. Like we're seeing more, and there's like a really good defender on the Rebels. He's from Waterford, and another guy's from Waterford. So like kind of just like a small like little town community just outside the res. And then there's like Brantford. Like, do you see a lacrosse growing up in Quebec, and then obviously you guys being the mecca here, or more of those guys from the local towns like, hey, I want to play lacrosse and coming here to play, or?
Yeah, there was when I was in minor, we have a couple guys that would, like, we had two guys come from Albany that would play with us. They played with us, but I mean, there's always one or two kids off the res that would come into the team, and they're always welcome. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they just want to play lacrosse.
Like we said, Stefan Charbonneau, he's Montreal, and he's like the only like Montreal kind of Quebec guy in the NLL. So it's nice too to see it growing in the province, right?
Yeah.
Now, does anyone got any last minute questions?
No questions, but I mean, good luck tonight, and I'm glad to see that you're part of this next generation coming up. Because, like I said, there was Brian Rice, Sago Kirby, Cougar Kirby, Trevor Stacey. I'm not going to say they're big shoes to fill, but those are great guys, great players, and I'm glad to see that there's a handful of these here that are stepping up to take that over.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to kind of watching you guys play tonight and stuff, and then hoping I see 3 goals in your future tonight. So I'll put it out there. Right? We'll
Now
get to
you're a
go
witch
and
doctor.
Get the
No, you're a witch doctor.
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
All right, guys. So that's all the questions we got there.
I'm good.
Alrighty, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast, and I wish you nothing but the best. And make sure that you any last minute shout outs. Shout out all the teammates. Put out your Instagram out there. Whatever you want to do.
Teammates, I mean, just
Run down the whole roster.
no, but I mean, the boys know who they are. Fucking sorry,
It's all good. It's all good.
No, just keep it going. I mean, they know who they are. We're ready to go.
You haven't really watched podcasts. Vale swears all the time.
Sometimes, yeah. Only when Daya does. It's all good.
And you wanted to be on Vegas.
Yeah.
Bill has beef with Vegas right now.
Yeah.
Maybe you going over there can fix that.
And as like you said, as a Res Dog, Desert Dogs were one of my favorite teams. They just couldn't keep winning, and I got the shirt and the hat, and I'm like, oh man, can't wear this shit around.
See, Desert Dogs, you need to hire this guy. He's out here scouting for you.
I'll scout for you. Come on, Sean Williams. I'll help you out.
He's a good D guy too.
Yeah. If you're ever in a pinch, like I've told Dewey Jacobs of the Chiefs before, I'll pay you $5 to play like I do on Thursday nights. You don't got to pay me.
Oh, that's a lot of game right there.
I'll work the door at least.
All right, guys. Until next podcast, we're out of here. Peace.